Okay, we are going to look at factoring trinomials again, but this time our trinomial has a leading coefficient other than 1. So we've got 7 as our leading coefficient here. In class, we talked about how the box method was a little bit nicer for these trinomials, so I'm going to draw my box. And then in the first box, I put that first term. So I'm going to put 7x squared here. In the last box, I'm going to put my last term. That's negative 20. And then to get those middle two boxes, we're going to multiply the first term and the last term and factor. So 7 times negative 20, that gives me negative 140. And just like for factoring trinomials where I don't have a leading coefficient here, we're going to look for factors of this number that add to b, our middle number, which is negative 31 for this problem. So again, if you see factors of negative 140 that add to negative 31 right off the bat, go ahead and use those. If not, then start writing your factor list. So 1 times 140, one of these numbers needs to be negative, since a negative times a positive is what gives me a negative number. But I don't know which one, so it could have been positive 1 times negative 140. This is divisible by 2, so 2 times 70. Again, one of these numbers had to be negative. I'm not sure which one it was, so I'm going to list both options here. This number is not divisible by 3. It is divisible by 4. 4 times 35. Again, one of these had to be negative. I'm not sure which one. And I'm going to stop right here because 4 plus negative 35 would give me negative 31, which is the number that I'm after. So these are the factors that I want. I'm going to put one factor in each of these middle boxes. It doesn't matter which one goes where. And then the other thing that goes in these middle boxes is an x. Since my middle term has an x as its variable, each of these terms gets an x. Now, using our box method, we're going to look for the greatest common factor for each row and for each column. So for my first row, the greatest common factor would be 7x. Both of these terms are divisible by 7, and they both have at least one x, so they're both divisible by x. For my second row, both of these terms are divisible by 4. For my first column, my greatest common factor would be x. 7 and 4 don't have any common factors besides 1, but the x squared and the x have a common factor of x. And then for my last column, I've got negative 35x and negative 20. Those are both divisible by negative 5. So once you pulled out your GCF from each row and from each column, you have your factors. One factor out in front and one factor up above. So my factors for this trinomial would be 7x plus 4, plus 4 since this is a positive 4, and x minus 5. Minus 5 since this is a negative 5. And again, you could flip-flop these factors if you wanted the x minus 5 first. That's fine as well. But here are your factors for this trinomial.